Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside today is looking warm, with a high of 88.6 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 62.6. Be sure to stay cool and drink plenty of water as the day progresses. When we return, we'll dive into the current state of the U.S. labor market and examine the reasons behind its observed cooling. We'll also explore the implications of a substantial turkey bacon recall, discussing what this incident reveals about essential food safety protocols and how they impact us all. That's all coming up next on Alex's News. Stay tuned. We're starting off this morning with a close look at the U.S. labor market, which appears to be cooling down considerably. For more on this, we turn to our expert reporter, Ethan. Ethan, what can you tell us about the latest job projections?
Grace, it seems the hiring boom is definitely hitting the brakes, or at least easing off the gas. Forecasters are anticipating U.S. employers likely added around 115,000 to 117,500 jobs in June. This figure, which we expect to be confirmed by the Labor Department's official release later today, marks a further deceleration from the 139,000 jobs added in May. This information comes from comprehensive reporting by WTOP News, the Winnipeg Free Press, and WHEC.com, all citing the Associated Press.
So a significant slowdown. And what about the unemployment rate? Any changes expected there?
Yes, Grace. The unemployment rate is projected to tick up to 4.3%. If that holds true, it would represent its highest point since October 2021. However, 4.3% is still broadly considered low enough to ensure job security for most American workers. It's a sign of a normalizing market, not necessarily a crisis.
That's helpful context. We've certainly heard a lot about the red-hot labor market we had. How much of a departure is this from the past few years?
It's quite a shift, Grace. We're certainly not in the red-hot days of rapid expansion experienced between 2021 and 2023. Back then, the U.S. economy, rebounding vigorously from COVID-19 lockdowns, saw an astounding average of 400,000 jobs added monthly. The pace of hiring has since moderated substantially, averaging 168,000 jobs per month in 2024, and slowing further to an average of just 124,000 jobs monthly so far in 2025. It's a much cooler climate, to say the least, but still growing.
It sounds like the economy is taking a breather. What are economists saying is behind this persistent slowdown?
Well, Grace, there are a few key players. A primary driver, according to economists and various news outlets, is the Federal Reserve's aggressive monetary tightening. Between 2022 and 2023, the Fed raised its benchmark interest rate a total of 11 times in an effort to curb soaring inflation. While many predicted these higher borrowing costs would trigger a recession, the economy has largely defied those forecasts, transitioning to a more modest, albeit steady, hiring pace. It seems the Fed's efforts to tame inflation are having the desired effect without sending us into a full economic chill.
So the Fed played a big part. What other factors are weighing on the job market? I understand policies from the current administration are also being cited.
That's right, Grace. Policies enacted by President Donald Trump are highlighted as significantly weighing on the job market. One major area is trade wars and tariffs. The aggressive use of import taxes, or tariffs, has created considerable headwinds. Mainstream economists argue these tariffs inflate prices, diminish efficiency by limiting competition, and frequently provoke retaliatory measures. Susan Spence of the Institute for Supply Management specifically noted that the erratic rollout of these tariffs has left businesses bewildered and hesitant to make crucial investment and hiring decisions. It's proving to be quite a tariff-I-C problem for some.
That certainly adds uncertainty. What about the federal government itself? Any impact there?
Absolutely, Grace. President Trump's assault on the federal bureaucracy is expected to have a tangible impact on June's job report. Nancy Vanden Houten, lead U.S. economist at Oxford Economics, anticipates a 20,000 job drop in federal employment last month. This decline is attributed to a hiring freeze, voluntary quits, and retirements. While massive federal layoffs are reportedly on hold due to ongoing court rulings, the hiring freeze alone is quite impactful.
And finally, Ethan, what role is immigration policy playing in all of this?
Immigration is another significant factor, Grace. The administration's stringent immigration crackdown and increased deportations are increasingly believed to be affecting labor market dynamics. This has contributed to a notable decline in the overall U.S. labor force. The labor force is defined as those working and looking for work. In May, for example, the labor force experienced a 625,000-person drop, marking the largest decline in a year and a half. This reduction in the available workforce, particularly in sectors reliant on immigrant labor, can constrain growth and contribute to a weaker job market by limiting economic output.
That really paints a comprehensive picture. Are there any other indicators that support this cooling trend?
There are, Grace. A survey by payroll processor ADP for May found that private companies actually cut 33,000 jobs last month. ADP chief economist Neela Richardson attributed this to a hesitancy to hire and a reluctance to replace departing workers. It's important to note, though, that ADP's figures frequently differ from the Labor Department's official employment counts, so we always await the official numbers. But it certainly suggests a cautious approach from businesses.
Fascinating, Ethan. So in summary, we're looking at an economy that's avoiding a recession but settling into a more tempered and cautious phase of employment growth, influenced by both the Federal Reserve's actions and specific administration policies.
That's precisely it, Grace. The overall picture, as reported by WTOP News, the Winnipeg Free Press, and WHEC.com, all citing the Associated Press, points to a market finding its new, cooler equilibrium.
Ethan, thank you for breaking down this complex economic landscape for us. It certainly gives us a good sense of where the job market is heading. We appreciate you being with us. Welcome back. Our second story this morning sizzles with important consumer news. Yesterday, Kraft Heinz announced a significant recall of nearly 368,000 pounds of Oscar Mayer turkey bacon products. For more on this, we turn to our reporter Chloe, who has all the details. Chloe, tell us, what prompted this extensive recall?
Grace, it was quite the recall to wake up to. According to official statements from Kraft Heinz and the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service, or FSIS, the recall initiated yesterday on July 2, 2025, was due to the possible presence of Listeria monocytogenes bacteria. This detection came about through the company's own internal laboratory testing at their Newberry, South Carolina facility, which is a key point here.
That's a huge amount of turkey bacon, and time Listeria monocytogenes is a serious concern. Can you explain to our viewers exactly what that is and why it poses such a risk?
Absolutely, Grace. Listeria monocytogenes is a bacterium that can cause listeriosis, a serious and sometimes fatal foodborne illness. While healthy individuals might only experience short-term symptoms like fever and muscle aches, it is particularly dangerous for vulnerable populations. This includes older adults, those with weakened immune systems, pregnant people, and newborns. For pregnant individuals, it can tragically lead to miscarriages or stillbirths. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that about 1,600 people in the U.S. get sick from listeria annually, with approximately 260 deaths.
Those are sobering statistics. But what's the good news, if any, regarding this specific recall? Have there been any reported illnesses?
That's the crucial silver lining here, Grace. As of today, July 3, 2025, no illnesses or adverse reactions have been confirmed in connection with this specific recall. Food safety experts are actually pointing to this as a success story for the system. Kraft Heinz's own internal monitoring caught the issue before anyone got sick, which is exactly how these proactive safety measures are designed to work. It truly is a case of putting safety on the front burner.
That's certainly reassuring. So for our viewers at home, how do they know if they have any of the affected products in their refrigerator, and what should they do if they do?
It's important to check your fridge and perhaps your bacon bits of memory for these specific items. The recalled turkey bacon was produced between April 24th and June 11th, 2025. It was widely distributed nationwide across the US and even exported to the British Virgin Islands and Hong Kong. You're looking for 12-ounce, 36-ounce, or 48-ounce vacuum-packed packages of Oscar Mayer Turkey Bacon Original. Each package will have a USDA mark of inspection. For example, a 12-ounce package has a UPC of 0718715488601 with use-by dates ranging from July 18, 2025, which is just 15 days away, to August 2, 2025. If you have any of these products, do not consume them. The advice is clear: either throw them away or return them to the place of purchase for a full refund.
That's very helpful, Chloe. Now, while it's positive that Kraft Heinz caught this internally, does this Newberry, South Carolina facility have any prior history of food safety issues?
Unfortunately, Grace, it does. According to various reports, this isn't the first time the Newberry plant has faced food safety concerns. Back in August 2015, the plant recalled approximately 2,068,467 pounds of turkey bacon due to spoilage. Beyond recalls, the facility has had legal challenges. For instance, in February 2022, a former production manager sued Kraft Heinz, alleging wrongful termination after reporting issues like bones in bacon and inadequately calibrated X-ray machines. And in February 2019, there was a whistleblower complaint alleging a former sanitation manager was terminated in 2017 after reporting 5 million pounds of poultry contaminated with cleaning solution. So while this particular recall highlights a functioning safety system, the plant's history underscores ongoing challenges.
Quite a history indeed. Chloe, thank you for breaking down this important recall for us and for helping our viewers understand what to look for.
My pleasure, Grace.
We appreciate you keeping us in the know. You can contact the Kraft Heinz Foods Consumer Hotline at 1-800-280-7185 with questions. Information for this report was compiled from official statements by Kraft Heinz, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, along with general news reporting. In the world of cycling, all eyes are on the upcoming Tour de France. It is shaping up to be a very big showdown. Dominant rider Tadej Pogačar is set to renew his epic rivalry with a resurgent Jonas Vingegaard. Pogačar has been on a tear this season. He won key races, like the Critérium du Dauphiné. Jonas Vingegaard is making a remarkable comeback after a serious crash and concussion earlier this year. Both riders are backed by powerhouse teams. The route features iconic climbs where their rivalry has previously played out. They are ready to compete fiercely for what promises to be an unforgettable Grand Tour. Officials in Australia are pursuing a golden opportunity for the 2032 Brisbane Games. The Australian federal and Queensland state governments have secured a landmark $7.1 billion funding deal for Olympic infrastructure. A significant portion of that is for a brand new 63,000-seat stadium at Victoria Park. $1.2 billion from the federal government is specifically earmarked for this. This new plan scraps the previous idea to redevelop the Gabba Stadium. The investment will also cover upgrades to numerous other venues across the state. This ensures a lasting legacy for communities from Cairns to the Gold Coast. In New Jersey, a skydiving trip had a very rocky start. All 15 people aboard a Cessna 208B aircraft were hospitalized. The plane crashed into the woods near Cross Keys Airport in Monroe Township on Wednesday. The pilot reported engine trouble shortly after takeoff. He overshot the runway while attempting to land. First responders recently conducted a mass casualty drill at this same airport. They found several occupants covered in jet fuel. Miraculously, there were no fatalities. Injuries ranged from minimal to critical. The FAA and NTSB are now investigating the crash of the single-engine plane. It was involved in a previous landing incident back in 2023. Meanwhile, firefighters in Greece are feeling the heat. A massive wildfire is ripping through the southern coast of the island of Crete. Fanned by powerful gale force winds, the blaze has forced the evacuation of over 1,500 people. This includes many tourists from resorts like Firma and Aklia. The fire has damaged several homes and businesses. Over 230 firefighters are battling the flames. However, the strong winds and arid terrain are making it a difficult fight. Some people have been treated for breathing difficulties. So far, no serious injuries have been reported. A search and rescue mission is underway in Indonesia. A ferry sank in the rough seas of the Bali Strait. The vessel was carrying 65 passengers and crew. It was traveling from Java to Bali when it capsized Wednesday night. Bad weather is being cited as a likely cause. Waves were up to 6.5 feet high. This is hampering rescue efforts. So far, 31 survivors have been pulled from the water. Tragically, 4 people are confirmed dead. 30 others remain missing. Panicked family members have gathered at the port. They are desperately waiting for news as the search continues in the choppy waters. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.